Okay, now I fell asleep there, as a matter of fact, with some things uploading, uh, more music, more disputes with the authorities, but I'll get to that maybe if I have a chance at the end, after writing this function. Now, uh, so I didn't really have a second look at this since the last video, but I'm pretty certain of the sort of function I want. What I want it to do essentially is these, maybe not using these steps, but the result of these steps which is to do like resolve, is similar to resolve. In fact, it could be contained perhaps within this function. So this function could include the resolving of what they call a reparse point um, to a physical location. That means the actual device and path, one of the paths anyway, on that device pointing to the location. Now that would have to be true even if that path contained multiple reparse points. Now I just did something. I could do it again. It's not hard to do, but I'll just show you. It's easy enough to show because I want to get rid of it. What I've done is using the fact that a junction can be made from one device to another. I don't know if you could do it on the same device surely as well, but the system might detect that easier. But I created a loop, essentially an infinite path. And let's put it in the safest place, of course. There is a junction here, G movies. Okay, now in fact I am on the G drive now, and in this subfolder there's another junction which takes me back to 10th, see? Whoops. See? Really cool. So this just goes on and on forever. If I tried to do a dir/s, starting from this root here, 10th, or the root of the drive, I would get caught up in an infinite loop. It should, but I don't know if the directory command is smart enough to realize that it's within a loop. I could try it. I'm curious to see what it does. I'll let it go. It should just continue on forever until the path exceeds the length. Maybe I can limit that output star.text or something. Okay. Now the path, it should die eventually when it hits the maximum path length of obviously more than max path, which is above. Are we above max path? Doesn't look like it. I think we're getting an error. Too long, yeah, okay. So we can go up to max path and that's it. Max path is 260 characters. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah, 260 I think. And these are 80, right? One width of this box is 80 characters, and this is just a message too long. So the actual path, or whatever, here's the path. It's a little bit less than 3 lines, so it's just probably 260, obviously. Max path, like it's always been. But as you saw, uh, another program which perhaps doesn't rely on max path and uses some other method to walk through the files in a directory, should be able to take that out to about 32,000 characters, and that's yeah. Oh, actually, this has to be max path, in fact, because this is using ANSI. If I made this a Unicode command prompt, I don't know if I can do command/u. Maybe it might go further. I don't know. Oops. It, I know it sounds crazy, but there's reason for me to believe why it might go further. It doesn't seem to have done that though. It's already failing at the usual. Max path. Okay, so now there's an immediate danger that you have to look out for. If you want to do a recursive search in a folder, my advice would be to not if you find a junction. If a junction comes up, then skip it. Don't even bother with it, because of that reason, and also because I would say that a junction is not part really of the directory, right? It's a link to somewhere else that it happens to appear similar to a directory, is, you know, so what it is, but that's not it's not something that's underneath in the sense of being a subdirectory of this directory. This G movies is not a subdirectory of temp, right? It's not even on the same volume. So so you could look at it, you could find out where it goes to, but if it goes to a subdirectory of temp, then it would be covered uh, in any recursive directory search already. So you can safely skip anything that's a junction. Maybe I should just try that. I have a function called for doing recursive file walking. I mean, a thing to make that job easier called what's it called now? It's something like enum. It uses an enum style callback type thing. Here, enum files, okay, has a recurse flag, and so you don't have to keep rewriting the enum bit. So the types of files to match I'll do the same, star.txt, and I'll use the same directory. I just pressed the key sequence that it's supposed to bring me one of these T with the quotes. See? Running macro. There it is. Is that the full path? Yeah, it would have to be because this is the only string. So that's the pattern. I think that's how this works. True, and then an enum prop. Bool, enum prop, which takes a pointer to a file progress. Or it passed a pointer to a file progress constant, and return false if you don't want the enum to continue. Now, this thing has, okay, this is telling us what the reason why we're getting passed back is A, because that file was matched, or B, was skipped. Now, that shouldn't really be just one flag is good enough. It can't be both matched and skipped. Oh no, it can be matched and skipped, sure. If I had an option, to skip certain types of files, enter and leave subdirectory. And this is the current path. Now what if I got this reserved here? I wanted to pad something else. Size of void star. Oh, I see. Minus, it should say size of byte. Right, I want this to be just three pointers for alignment reasons. And this is the way you would do it so that it would be aligned properly on a on a 64-bit machine as well. Right? I don't know what the size of a void star is. Could be 4 or it could be 8. Doesn't matter. Same thing happens. It's three pointers. In any case, that's irrelevant. What do I want to put in here? Just print it out and check if it's a junction. So, oh no, it says enter the logic. Really, is this? How does this? Now I don't know how. I remember how this works. I think that's called after the entry, but we want to prevent entry into some subdirectory. File callback do enumerate file find. This file find is restricted, I think, not to max path, but each component, I think, is restricted to max path. That is, a subdirectory specifier can be 260 characters and no more, and the file name same, but you could keep adding them up and go beyond to max path, but it has this problem. So while working, if not directory, call back. Skip. Okay, what this is doing is just getting just going into the directories. I see. If recurse, star.star, so recurse means to go through subdirectories, and this FF object is searching for anything that is a directory, skipping things that are not directories, so these would all be files, and then call back with enter subdirectory, and then saying if not enumerate, get back terminate proc, do enumerate. That's taking two arguments, that's true. Props was passed in, so okay, recurse, then recurse. So we're only doing directories. Oh, if not, okay. So we do the enumerate for all the subdirectories of any directory. If any of them fails, then this thing will return false. Otherwise, leave subdir is called. Now, if a directory doesn't have any subdirectories, and it's on the recurse mode, then this would be false, and then we would start walking through the files in that directory, looking for ones that match the file spec. Now, does that make sense? I don't understand why this works. It seems like a leave subdir would happen. Well, I know it works, so we can try. See what happens. Here's my num prompt. Action. It's not this file map. I made a mistake. No. etc cur, and will always return true. First, just to see that it's working. Maybe we'll take a better directory than this. Something that's not going to run me into trouble. Most of my other directories are currently safe. You can imagine how quickly the whole thing could become very unstable and unsafe. Let's see now. Docs. I think docs has a junction in it. I know that. Pictures. Pics. dpics. It's safe. Star JPG. Sounds good. What else do I need? Cross. Get rid of this. So I'm curious to see how this works. I've forgotten the reasoning behind that logic there. Maybe you have already seen it, and it should be perfectly clear and obvious to me. I'll pause the compiler. Okay, I just added an extra slash here and put in the last argument I forgot. You can supply a user parameter. In fact, no, I wouldn't want to do it that way. But one thing I could do if I wanted to save myself with this thing is I could pass in a function that checks whether or not the directory is a junction, something like that. But anyway, let's just see this in action. Okay. Okay, get full path name. So I could have passed a relative path. Normalize things. All this is doing is putting everything as backslashes, and condense. Condense just removes any duplicate doubles. I don't think it's required, in fact, because I'm probably string token. But anyway, that had no effect. If contains any wildcard, if it doesn't have any wildcards and it's a directory, return false. That won't match any files, that's true. No wildcards and a directory. Okay, fair enough. Okay, the root of the recursion is the full path minus the file name. So that's that. File is the full path starting from root get length. Okay, so go to the end here, and everything following this slash would be the file that we're going to be searching for, and that happens to be star.jpg, and won't allow empty. Okay. This is a sanity check. It's not handled. So file stack is that thing. Callback function provided. The recursing is true, and the user supplied parameter null. Do enumerate. Now this is just like the C file find for MFC. If recurse, yes. So the way these file find things work is first you call find file, right? And that returns Boolean value, true or false, whether or not it found any file matching the specified value. And to get the first file, just like you do with linked list array walking in MFC, the first thing tells you whether or not there is something to look for. And this get next file, the first time you call it, actually, sorry, we've found a file in fact. I think, no, this here actually extracts it, I guess. I don't know, but this is the way you're supposed to do it. Yeah, it returns true, I think. This thing is going to return true if there is a file remaining, and returns false if the next one to be found, if there's no next, I guess. I don't know. It comes up with the right number anyway. Let's see. If is dots, and we should get two of these. One, two. So that's correct. So it's starting in the right place. It's not a direct. Oh, I didn't see this. Okay. Now we're skipping non-directory. Get file path. Okay. This is part of that macro, obviously. Just okay. Here we are in the news rock. If file match, no. Now it doesn't seem like this thing bothered with the return value, but I think it does. Yeah, if not, return false. That's hidden here. Continue. Eventually we're going to get to here. And now do call back with enter subderivative is something that I also skipped. And now we're calling ourselves again with get file path, terminate with slash. So the next, this is a directory. It says path, but it's a directory, same props, properties. And if that fails, we leave the subdirectory and return false. Okay. We always call the callback and leave. That puts us back here again. So now we're in ticks duplicated and recurse is true. So you can see that this is going to keep going eventually to a point where there's no more directories, no more subdirectories, and so eventually we should get here. So here we are in a directory that has no subdirectory, and it is this directory, and we're looking for root plus file spec JPEG, right? No, false. So we didn't find any there, but we still want to keep searching. No, that happens to put us here. This is the duplicate. This is walking through the directory called duplicated. So we should end up here again, still with duplicated. Ticks duplicated. But didn't we just do this one? Okay, maybe there's a bug. Oh, no, wait, no, we did get it. What was it last? I'll have to review the video. Apparently we did find something. What is our directory? Okay. So definitely we found one in that directory. And we keep going to, now, if it is a directory, we skip directory. It's true, there could be a directory, some star.jpg, right? Somebody called their directory um, my others.jpg. That could be the name of a directory. So we've got to skip those. The .jpg thing is specified here. This is assuming we're not always at the end. So printing some files. Let's get out of here. That brings me back to here. I'm going to run up to here again from temp. Let's see. Didn't get anything. FPJ fix. Okay, so it did go to mirrors, right? And now we're at tools, so it is now going back up the tree, so we don't miss anything. I guess, yeah, this thing eventually quits going through all the directories, and then you walk through all the files. Fair enough. And it's going down, but now it's going up again, right? And it's going to go back down. And we're getting a whole bunch of printouts. Alright, that's recursion. Now, what I want to do is not allow any walking into reparse points. If it's a directory, probably also if it's not a directory, because a reparse point can have the directory attribute. That just means a listing, right? It doesn't mean a file directory. It just means it has the attribute that it is a listing of other objects. And one type of directory could be like that Microsoft Games thing, right? Now that games thing is probably a reparse point. It looks like you're at a path. The control panel has a fake kind of path in it, and it's treated like a directory. There's control panel, and then you click on something and it takes you to another, subcategory like this, unless it brings up a new box. Didn't. Okay. See? Now, whether or not this is a directory is an unknown. I don't think it is. I think that, and I'm not sure if this is a directory either, or if this is a directory either, right? In fact, I don't think any of them are directories. They're all reparse points. And some of the reparse points have the attribute of being directories, and the way to look up the objects is completely arbitrary. Uses com, right? So already, like, I know you're shivering and afraid, and you should be. Everything and anything can go in any spot and look exactly like a directory, right? And do anything, who knows what. Essentially, it's code. These things are code. An example I came up with recently had to do with, I was playing around with this program, and that's why I thought of games. Because one of the links that showed up didn't resolve itself into a path. And it was one of those things that starts with a double colon. Anything that starts with a double colon, I believe, is not a pointing at a file, but pointing at some kind of special object that may be a directory type. And you'll see the one that I found. I looked up, I hacked in some code to look up just the first part and get a name out to print on my printout. And it says game console or something like that, / and then a GUID identifier. And that GUID identifier is not in the registry, which means that it can only be one thing. It must be an interface identifier, which means code, which means that you take that interface identifier, combine it with the DLL, which is in the registry, and create an object of that type. What the type is arbitrary. And how you walk the directory is something that is code written by the Junction designer, I guess. Obviously, get next file works for junctions, or else these directory listings would fail. So that's supported, but not everything is supported for a junction. I'm just going to run this. Oh dear. Stop that. I forgot to start it again. Just doing my goody deeds for humanity. There's several bugs that have to be fixed with this thing. But anyway, it certainly doesn't like it when you reinstall the operating system. That false has to do with the same funny link here. See, I got double click there for nothing. This here, Games Explorer, that text didn't come from any folder or anything. That just came out of the registry. Does it show it here? I don't show it for some reason. There was another one of these things starting with double colon. Maybe that assert. I'll get it on that. And that thing is in the registry under class ID. Now, if I run the registry editor, I think it'll come up first. That was the last place I was. Oh no. Paint link. Store item. Maybe I'm wrong. Accessories paint. Oh, okay. I must have gotten rid of all. No, can't be. It's the item. Paint link. Oh, it's link. Okay, I'm just not including LNK in my list here. I see. Alright. But all those things are LNK. See here, this is the one that comes up with a double colon. So it's a double colon followed by a valid with string, and then I'm just taking the default string and putting that in. Now if you really wanted to use this thing, right, you go here. Shell folder has some attributes you've got to figure out, and the code for creating the various objects that have various interfaces that are not listed in the registry is there. So you would have to know which is which. Now it could be that there is a standard maybe for these sorts of things, right? And that maybe I have the GUID identifier. Maybe I could create an object of that type, and maybe all of those objects derive from a certain class, and maybe that certain class has a getName function. You see what I'm saying? So I could try creating now what would I create? Just this would be the IID, right? The class ID, I suppose, would be this. This is the class, yeah, sure. Here's improxer, so class ID and interface ID, so class and interface ID. That'll return me some kind of object, and if I knew what the general type of object is, I could probably put something in here. You know, my guess is that it's solitaire. Because that's the only game I've seen in this list. I'm trying to switch to the other view. Press the button with everything running. See? Now this is coming up with the wrong icon because I removed all the games. Right? There is no, no, there should be a solitaire game. Shell 32. That says Microsoft, oh I probably deleted it. You see how everything uses my special dialog now. Program files, Microsoft Games. Yeah, it's gone. Okay, that makes sense. Alright. Alright, so I'm guessing that that's what it was. For other things, like these sorts of things, are probably specified in a similar way. But I don't know how to find out yet how they work. Not sure about these, but you see it seems like a similar idea. maybe this is always for a link file, right? And this is, it's certainly temporary. It doesn't exist in the registry. This might be a special type of interface. Maybe it's always that value. You have to run it on your system and see if you see these same. This is wrong. Why am I not getting my icon? Change that. I mucked something up. I'm sure that Windows old. Oh, I know. Because I deleted all these. And there's a dot here where there should be a slash. Okay, alright. So I've messed this up, but it doesn't matter. I can fix it easy. Now, back to the function. Now I've wasted a bunch of time. I'm gonna, first off, let me fix that one problem. I want to skip. This is where I'm scanning directories. If it's not a directory, or if it's a junction, right? Is reparse point then skip, right? So we're not going to go walking into any reparse points for obvious reasons. Do enumerate, and that's fine. It is dot, or is directory, or is reparse point. Oh, directory is covered. So that actually fixes the bug. Good. This enum files can now should be able to safely enumerate the danger directory. Star without any problem. It won't go in. It won't even attempt to look at that reparse point. That one's an easy fix because the reparse point is going to come up as the last part of the string. The entire string will be a reparse point and not some part of the string prior to that. We're never going to see a path that has a reparse point 401. That's true. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If there's a reparse point in our history, like behind us, if I added, what's it called? G movies. Keepers, right? I think that was the path. Yeah, that's okay. This is not a reparse point, but one of the directories in here is this one, and it should skip over that, and that should be fine. It'll just print out these movies. Yeah, the directories and the contents happen to be movies. All right, I've used too much time, so I'll I'll get to the other function after this. We'll just see that this works fine, and I'm sure it will. I'll do both. I'll do this one, and I'll do starting from here, let's say, to speed things up. Oh, wrong program. I could just hop right over this. I might as well. If you know what's going to happen if it jumps in there, that reparse point. It didn't, or I mean, it completed anyway, and it didn't go. There shouldn't be any d-temp anything in the output. I don't see any. It's easy enough to check. Now I'll try this. Just temp start at star. So you see, that was pretty easy to fix, right? Not a major problem, but that's only because luckily I have this function, so and this is the one I always use because it's the easiest. That is one of the most effective ways to kill bugs, by the way. If you're working on it in a team, make a function that's very easy to use, and then everyone is going to gravitate towards that because it doesn't require much thinking. And then you can kill off a lot of bugs all at once by modifications in most easy to use files. If your function is very difficult to use, right, and people won't use it, then it's almost pointless to fix a bug in there because nobody's ever going to use it. Okay, so now from temp, it should be fine, no problem. It won't touch any of those reparse points. This ftemp is not. I think it's finished actually. Oh no, it can't be. It would say press any key to continue. It better not be. Oh, I can't break into it. Alright, let's do it under the debugger. But even if I didn't get it right, I can surely fix it, I'm sure. Oh, we can't show disassembly for what? NTDLO. What are all these threads? One thread. Unlock. But from where? Let's put a breakpoint. There might be a lot of files under there. That's not hitting any reparse point. Maybe Stardust Star was too much. Look, I don't even know what is this. don't even know what half the files are. Class, CD, video. Huh? Oh, Hands Classic. I don't know what this is. Oh my god, look at this. It's a, this is a database. How did I get that on here? Jeez. I've got a whole database with bibliographies, documentaries. Okay. I don't know what it is. How it got there, I forget. Maybe that instead. I'll find out what that is later. It's probably part of FreeMake's network. Alright, here we go. I don't expect any trouble. F10. Now, where's F10? It's really quite funny. I felt so confident. Oh, wait, I'll break one. It's Hans's that was under TMP. We gotta get rid of that Hans thing. I have no idea what it is. Oh, Hans. Okay, I do know what that is. It came from a zip file. It still have the zip file. Doesn't matter. There's no way I'm gonna be able to go through it all. It's this guy sent me a. He's got a whole bunch of classic music CDs, and he was wondering if I was interested in looking or listening to some of them. Yeah, and I might be, but I certainly have no interest in looking through that database. There's no content in there. It's just a like a directory listing. But it's huge in terms of number of files, plus the time. But you see, if it was going in this order, then Hans CD video, it must have skipped over G movie. But I'm not sure of that because might not be the same order that they're listed here. In fact, it's probably not the same order because I have my dir command set to list things specifically in this order. First directories, then files. Which is not the default. No. Okay. Okay, it wasn't that long after. It probably wouldn't take so long without all those things running in the background. Should be no troubles whatsoever. No, it'll just probably succeed and quit. And it did. See? So now it's safe. I can safely recurse any directory, provided I use this function. Uh, and next time I'll get to writing the other function, which is to resolve a given path into its actual location, one of its actual locations on a particular volume. See you.